So today we are reviewing the Viltrox 85mm F1.8 X-Mount lens. But wait, before we do anything here, I need some coffee.
Yeah. My mind state feel like the crime in the summertime. Higher than average, lot of cabbage. Thank God I never abide by the established guidelines that keep niggas inside of fabrics. Commissioned by the state, I skate by the masters like.
Hey there. Step. Waiting. Alright, back to the video.
Yoo-hoo, with a new riding passenger. Shout out Oak Cliff, I'm about to fly to Dallas. Decade from now, I might just buy the Mavericks. What up, Mark Cuban? I am only part human, half man, half amazing. Plus I'm good at
much better. Alright, so again, the 85mm F1.8 for the X-Mount Fuji system. It's 135mm when you factor in the crop size, and this thing is honestly pretty incredible for the price. Be about $400 brand new. Used, you can probably get it around $350, $300 on eBay. I personally got mine for about $300 on a Black Friday deal, and it's for portraits. I use mine specifically for hockey sports, which is a smaller, for those of you that don't know hockey, it's a smaller field size, I guess you can say. So hockey, basketball, this thing is going to do just fine if you're a sports photographer. This is just a great all-around lens. I've actually nicknamed it the Magic Lens just because of how good it is in so many different scenarios. Just a few things to note though. It is not weather sealed, so you should be mindful if you're going to be taking this thing out in rain, snow, especially dust. I definitely would not take it into a dry, dusty environment. However, I have taken it out in light rain and snow, and it's gotten, wet, but I haven't had any issues with it. It just came inside real quick as soon as I saw it was starting to accumulate a little bit of moisture and dried it off, and I have had no issues, but something to think about. It also does not have image stabilization, which is expected for a lens in this price range. Again, being a $400 lens, that's really not a problem. I guess just you're not going to be using this for video, but for photos, you're not going to have an issue with this. If you really need to shoot it in low light and have a slow shutter speed, you're probably using a tripod anyways, so I don't really see it as a factor with this lens or knock against it. Another thing to note is this does feature a stepping motor instead of a linear motor like some of the newer, more expensive Fuji lenses. Stepping motors are just a tad slow. Well, it depends on the lens, but usually just a tad slower than a linear motor. Although Viltrox did a great job with this, I still think it's plenty fast. But I included some tests in this video of the 18-55 linear motor Fuji lens and the 50-230 stepping motor Fuji lens, just to give you a comparison to look at. You will notice that it is just about on par with the 18-55. There's one point where it kind of hunts for focusing, and it completely blows the 50-230 out of the water. Like I said, it's not really a knock that this is a stepping motor. Again, with the price, you just have to note that it's going to be a tad slower than the fastest lenses out there, which again is expected. I still think it does an amazing job for what it is, and overall I think the autofocus on this lens is pretty dang reliable. The only times you're really going to have issues with it is if you're quickly going from close to far away with your focusing, which every lens kind of struggles with that to its own extent. And overall, this is an excellent focusing lens. There's really no issues that I see with it. Again, extremely happy with this lens's performance at the price range. I'm going to say that a lot, but I'm just going to shut up now and let you watch the tests and determine for yourself what you think of this lens. editing this video here and I realized I sound quite a bit like an ad for Viltrox. Just want to mention that I'm not affiliated or sponsored in any ways by the company. As far as I know from looking at reviews when I was buying this lens, it doesn't look like they've sponsored anybody. They wanted this lens to speak for itself, which I think it does. But just wanted to get that out there, let you know if you're watching this video. Next we're gonna get in some pictures here and just show you how versatile this lens can be. So here we go. Okay, let's start off here. I'm gonna start off with a few portraits, or this specifically is more of a headshot. But you can see the bokeh in the background. It has really, really nice creamy bokeh with the when you shoot it wide open at the f1.8. It's not going to be at its sharpest at f1.8, but you can see here it does still a very, very good job. And there's a reason I call this the magic lens. It just seems like every time I pull it out, it does a fantastic job. Again, this is at f1.8. You can see this my cousin here has probably should have wiped his face before this picture was taken, but it was kind of just on the fly. Again, quickly focused. Does a fantastic job focusing, considering the stepping motors that it has. You can see with this more zoomed in shot, the bokeh balls do get a little out of round. That's not something that I personally care about. I still think this looks fine. But for you, those of you that are crazy about what your bokeh looks like and your bokeh balls, and you have to have them in round, maybe you should be spending $1,000 on a 90mm Fuji anyways, and not a $300 lens, because again, this is a huge bargain, and I think for the price, it is absolutely phenomenal. And again, I have no problem with this whatsoever. So, a few more pictures here, another portrait. Just an example of the sharpness. I believe this again is at f1.8. But look at that. You can just count his beard hairs there, which is nuts. This guy actually asked me to take his picture. Again, same thing, incredibly sharp. Does a fantastic job with the portraits. Even if we zoom in a little bit here, this is a cropped image as well. But you can just see all the details, the wrinkles in his hands, his jacket, his shirt here. Again, the face, you just see how weathered the face is. This is just another example of an outstanding job done by this lens. Another shot here, more of a street style. This is on a mountain. This is actually taken from a lift. But again, this guy was standing on a ridgeline and just fantastic job. You can see the detail in the snow here in his jacket. Go to another one here. A couple more street examples. Again, just absolutely blown away. This was stopped down a bit more, so you can see a bit more of the sharpness in the background and this guy here. Again, if you stop it down a bit more, you're going to get a bit more of the sharpness. You'll get less bokeh in the background. Pretty standard for all lenses, but again, just incredibly sharp here. Another example, just the texture in the brick in the background and the mural itself, as well as this guy. Yeah, just again, it is a magic lens. Does a lot of things very, very well for the price. Getting into a few sports examples, I think this is a fantastic lens if you want to get started into sports. It's basically what got me started into sports photography. I just shoot for, I have a younger brother on a hockey team. And, you know, you're not going to get crazy sports images out of this lens. If you can get close to the action like you can with hockey and basketball, I think it's going to do just fine. It does fantastic. You get great light at the 1.8, obviously. But you're not going to be able to shoot a football or a soccer game or something like that. You will need a more expensive lens. But again, this is $300 to $400. If you're going to get the Fuji's hardcore sports action lens, that's a 200mm f2, I believe. And that's going to run you around $6,000 brand new. You will be able to reach out farther with it. But for what this lens does, if you can get close to the action, it does perfect. I send my images to a newspaper, they get posted online, and honestly, there's the sharpness of them I have no problem with, even though these are being shot around 1600 ISO, because I am shooting I'm shooting at 1250th of a second, just to stop down the action, so I do have to bump up the ISO quite a bit on these shots, less so in the basketball shots, just because it's a little bit better lit. But again, you can just see the incredible detail here in the socks of this guy, and as well as the stick. You can read the name of the coach that he is honoring in this game. So another good example there. Here's a couple basketball ones coming up. Again, a little bit sharper on this one just because it's a lower ISO. I don't know exactly what the ISO number was on this. Let's just zoom it in a bit. I mean, you can just see, maybe a little bit too far. You can just see how sharp it is. Again, this is a cropped image already, but just incredibly sharp for what it can do. Great blur in the background, great bokeh. A few more here. Another basketball one. And, I mean, if you can't tell, this does a fantastic job for basketball, especially, like I said, if you can get pretty close to the action, what's going on, basketball and hockey, if you can sit on one side of the court or the rink and just, nail down shots, like, you are going to get some great results. This is one more example here. Just, phenomenal for what it can do. Again, incredibly sharp. You will, again, it has the stepping motor, so just expect if you're going to be doing sports photography to just be laying down on the shutter pretty much the whole time, the whole game. You are going to miss some shots for being out of focus, but that's kind of typical for sports, which is why you shoot a lot of shots and you pick out what's best. But again, you're going to get some incredible results. I mean, this, again, zoomed in quite a bit, is incredibly sharp here. So, alright, so just wrapping things up here. Brutus is joining us for this little outro, but all in all, I'd have to say I'm completely happy with this lens. It is a great all-around lens. There's a reason I've nicknamed it the Magic Lens, because I just love this thing. I mean, sports, not landscapes, street photography and portraits, it kills everything. Does such a great job, especially for this price. I mean, $300, what I got it for, that's absolutely insane, and I have no regrets buying this lens. And hopefully if this video helped you make up your mind on purchasing it or not, either way, hopefully you are happy with your decision. But alright, peace.